Bad thing is I don't know when we're actually live. People can see us.
I'll let you know I'm watching.
Okay, good. Hey, everybody, welcome to Ask An Alaskan. I'm Rob from Curmudgeon.
There we go. Now we're at. How's it going, everybody? We were going through there, man. We weren't sure if we were live or not, but now we're live. So go ahead, Rob. Start over and introduce yourself, sir.
Well, they've already seen it all because it just went through. But
Yes. Okay. How's it
this
going?
is the Ask An Alaskan podcast with myself and Rod from Pure Alaska. We're going to be answering all the questions that you guys put into our community tabs, as well as some from the chat tonight. We are currently looking for people to bring on that are Alaskan. So if you're an Alaskan and you want to come up and check out the podcast and tell us about yourself and answer questions from our audience, please get in touch with either Rodney or myself. Anyways, Bud, I think you had some questions already on your page. So why don't you ask those or answer those?
Oh, I did. They're actually in a text message, but I still remember a few of them. So you guys forgive me if I keep looking down because my eyesight's not the greatest. So I actually have chat going here as well. So forgive an old man for trying to cheat a little bit there. So we have a few questions that we got through the community page, and we will answer those. Then after that, we will go ahead and we'll look at the chat. If anybody's in the chat and has questions that they want to answer, we'll go ahead and answer those as well. So Old School Alaska was one of the first ones to put a question in. And
of
his
course,
question,
it's Ashley.
What's that?
I said, yes. Of course, it's Ashley.
Yes. So he wanted to know how crazy does a person have to be to live in Alaska? And then also, how crazy does a person have to be to stay in Alaska? And that's actually a great question. Rob, if you want to take first, I'll listen and then I'll give my answer.
Man, I don't know. That's a hard one to ask because you have to be kind of crazy to do it, especially how Sarah and I did, because we came from the South.
Right.
We came from Florida to here, so we went from one extreme to the next.
Right.
So,
and that's the same with, I mean, I grew up in Louisiana, and that's what's crazy. I grew up on the bayous and the heat, the humidity, everything else. And when I got out of the military, I ended up in the Midwest. And then, life circumstances happen. And then I was just kind of like, what am I doing here in Flatland, USA? I came to Alaska in 92. I always wanted to be, I knew when I got here, and that's why I always tell people, you leave a part of your soul. I knew at some point, somehow in my life, I would end up back here. So I quit my job, packed everything, came to Alaska, never looked back. The most challenging thing, you have to be a different breed to live here. And Rob will agree, you have to be a different breed to live here. I think what the most challenging thing for people, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, when I first got here was the darkness in the wintertime. Up north, they have just total darkness throughout the winter. We at least have 4 or 5 hours of darkness here, but it takes getting used to getting up, going to work in the dark, coming home in the dark, doing things in the evening in the dark. You get used to it and you start learning how to live for the summer and winter equinox I'm sorry, the solstice. And that's when you start gaining daylight and so forth. So you kind of live for that June 20th, December 20th kind of thing when you start getting daylight back and when you start losing daylight. It's a different breed. Either you're going to, I always tell you, I've never met somebody when you ask them, how do you like living in Alaska? I've never met somebody that's like, yeah, it's okay. It's either I love it and I'll die here, or I hate it and I can't leave this freaking place fast enough. There's never in between. And it's just an extreme state. That's how it is. And as for myself, I will die here. This is my love, man. I love this state, love everything about it.
Yep, and that's how Sarah and I are as well. And speaking of Sarah, she's trying to watch the cast over at the house. So I'm going to put you guys on pause for a second. Rodney, go ahead and talk to the crowd. I'm going to go fix up for her. I'll be right back.
Excellent. So let's see what you guys are seeing in here. A lot of people saying hello, good evening. People people saying hello to each other. Um, Following me. What part of Louisiana did I grow up in? And yeah, I've definitely lost my accent. So I grew up in Lacombe on the bayous outside of Slidell in St. Tammany Parish. When I say stuff like parish, it kind of comes out. Or if I have a couple of beers in me, a lot of times that Louisiana twang will start to find its way out somehow. I don't know how, but I am from Lacombe, Louisiana. That's where I was born and raised on the bayous. Hunting, fishing, um, loving every day, I guess, to sound goofy, but um, so that's where my love of the outdoors started, and it's just continued my whole life. Let's see, everybody else. There's a couple other questions we had, but I'll wait for Rob to get back in, and so he can take those as well. See everybody. I see Jeremy in here. See PJs. I see a lot of people in here. Good to see everybody. Of course, John is in here as always. Thank you, John, for everything you do. Scott's in here. Hello, Scott. Alligators, frog, catfish, and shrimp. Absolutely following me. You know it. So, Nikki Silver Stacker. A lot of people say that. A lot of people say that they would love to visit Alaska. And I always tell people, absolutely, you should absolutely visit it. You can kind of explain it. And Rob and I, this is kind of what brought the podcast on. Rob and I talked about this a long time. We had this vision for a while, and I've been kicking it around, talked to a few different people about it, and just hadn't found the right person. And then Rob and I met, and it was kind of like, yeah, let's do this. And I brought it up to Rob, and this is awesome. Let's go. So I tell everybody they should definitely come visit, but I always warn people, you know, what you see on the cameras, what you see on podcast shows, all that, it doesn't even begin to capture the essence of Alaska and how beautiful it is here. I always tell people when they come up here, prepare to leave a part of your heart and your soul, because this place is beyond beautiful. I mean, it's beyond people's expectations when they come here. It's a different place. It really is. And that's why, like we were saying, it's the place that I will spend the rest of my life. So welcome back.
Sorry about that. She's not that great with the Apple TV system over there, so I had to go fix it for
Oh man, you got to take care of that beautiful lady.
her. And so just a reminder to everybody that we're kind of doing this as a podcast style. So if we don't greet you or answer a question right away, we're sorry. We will get to those questions. So if my moderators can make sure that you let us know when there are some really good questions, either by text or something like that. I will start getting somebody into the StreamYard section to actually put them into the start area so we can answer the questions as we run out of them. So again, if we don't answer your questions right away, we're sorry about that. We will get to them. And just Jason Keto, thank you for the membership gifts, by the way. Go ahead,
excellent,
Rodney.
Yeah. So another question we had was from Glacier Shark in Alaska, another great Alaskan channel. He's a fisherman. He said, "What's your favorite caliber?"
Mine is 45-70, but I think you know that because of what's over my shoulder.
I do. Yes, I do. I know that. Yes. So a lot of people ask that, and that was a great question. And I told Devin that was actually a great question, because a lot of people ask that. You know, is there a universal round? What's your favorite round? I've got primarily 2 rounds that I hunt with, but I hunt with a 300 Win Mag, and I hunt all large game with that: bear, moose, and I almost said caribou. But for deer, caribou, and things like that, I'll go to a 7mm 08, because obviously our deer are much smaller here. There wouldn't be much left after a 300 Win Mag. But
Yep.
as far as I've found, Rob, you can correct me, I think the most universal Alaska round there is a 30-06. It's
It
basically
is.
big enough to take down anything. It's fairly inexpensive, and
Yeah.
it's not big enough that it'll destroy other things that you shoot. What do you think, Rob?
I fully agree on that on the 30-06 because most of the old timers I've talked to that have trapper cabins or cabins out in the bush will tell you that we always leave two things out there: 12 gauge and 30-06 shells,
Yes,
just in case somebody gets into a bad situation, they can actually go in and get them.
because
And
it is the most universal. Yep.
yep, and 4570's kind of been there with that as well because so many people use the old lever actions as bush guns.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And there was Alice. I know you're in the chat. It remind me what your question was. Alice came in with a late question, and I don't. And then also Jeremy had a question that he put out today that I wanted to make sure to answer as well. So I'm watching the chat. If you guys are in here, go ahead and remind me of what your questions were.
And I'm going to my area too because I know I had a couple on mine as well.
Oh, I remember somebody asked, and forgive me. Oh, it was Alice. Sorry, Alice, forgive me. She wanted to know what the
There it is.
most dangerous situation we've ever encountered since we've been in Alaska.
I'll
And
let you
I'll let
start
you
with that
go,
one.
Rob.
I
Okay,
beat you to
let
it.
me start. Put the pressure on me, huh?
Yes, sir.
So of all the things, weirdly enough, of all the things that have happened to me, and it's just life in Alaska. So I think the most dangerous thing that comes to my mind is I was fairly new here. I was back in Hatcher's Pass, which is an area in the mountains close to where we are, and I was bear hunting. So, and that's one of the things you learn in Alaska. You you spend money and you get good gear. Good gear can be a difference of life and death. So I, was kind of out on a whim and got probably about a mile back into a canyon that I thought looked, for lack of a better term, very berry. And then there was I start learning a lot about like muskeg and quick mud and things up here. So I actually stepped in some quick mud and went up to my knee. Anybody that doesn't know about it, you hear about quicksand and everything else. So luckily, somehow I was able to get a stick and get enough pressure that I was able to, after a while, get my foot out of my boot. Um, and literally, the temperature was dropping. It was cold. This was late fall. There's already snow in a lot of areas up there. So luckily, after about an hour, I was able to get my foot out of my boot, and then literally ended up walking barefoot over a mile across, tundra and all kind of other things.
Yeah.
So let's just say my feet had seen much better days. It took me probably about a week for my feet to recover from walking across that without, basically barefoot.
Right.
Looking back, thinking about how scary that could have been, I didn't let anybody know where I was. I really wasn't prepared with the gear I should have had. So there are a lot of things that were learned, and God willing, I made it out of there okay. But every time, and Rob can attest to this, every time we go out hunting, go out on an adventure, hiking, anytime you make it back safe, is
Yes.
regardless of what happens, it was a successful trip. Whether you harvested a moose, whether you harvested an animal, whether you did this, did that, if you make it back safe in Alaska, it was a good
It was a
trip.
successful trip.
Yes.
Exactly. Now, for myself, I haven't had the adventures that Rodney has had yet. I have not gone a whole lot of places yet. We've been to Kenai, we've been to North Pole, but around here at the property, the weirdest and craziest one just happened during this last hunting season. I was walking the lower trail, just crossed the first little bridge behind the cabins, and I started hearing this really weird sound. And I thought it was a cat, a big cat. I've heard panthers, cougars, stuff like that. And it was just this weird, almost like gurgling sound. And then, I didn't think none of it. I just kept walking. I went down to the spot. You know my spot.
Yep.
You've been with me.
Yes, sir.
And I got back that night and I started thinking about it. I'm like, what was that? And come to find out, It was a black bear. And they have this one sound they make to warn you, hey, I'm here, don't mess with me, or there's going to be a problem.
Right.
And it just, I'll see if I can find the sound, and I'll put it in a video here soon, guys. I wish I could have found a sound bite and played it for you right now. It was just a really weird, eerie sound. And it made the hair in the back of my neck stand up because it was close. And now that I think about it, now that all the ferns are all dead up here, and I walked back in that same area, I'm like, I was less than 5 feet away from a large black bear that could have come out and chopped me.
Right.
And then I questioned, would I have been quick enough to drop said bear?
Right.
Because as you know, it can happen in an instant. And before you even blink, the bear's on top of you. So
People
now
yeah.
I've got to be extra vigilant down in that area. So that was my scariest.
Especially and people don't realize that, I live more rural here. Eventually we're going, remote, but where Rob lives is extremely remote. As you guys, most of you
It's not
guys
as
know,
extreme as some places, but it's remote.
it's remote, Rob. Let's be honest. When you can only get to a place by the railroad, that's pretty
Yes.
remote. And he also lives in, and Sarah, I know you're watching. When I say Rob, of course, I'm talking about you, young lady. So, but they live in a bear dense area. I mean,
Yes.
bear dense area. That is a constant. And Adam and Phyllis are in here, I'm sure, and they live
Yep.
in the same area. I mean, it's a bear dense area. So
Yep.
it's constantly being vigilant. And even as much as I've been here, that's a great thing about Rob, because I'll go to his place and I learn something new because he lives in a different atmosphere than I do, so we bounce stuff off of each other back and forth all the time. And that's what's beautiful about
Yep.
Alaska. You always find people, even people that have been here for a lifetime, and they're always, not always, but most of them are willing to learn new stuff from people that,
Yes.
regardless of how long they've been here, somebody's always got something to teach somebody. And ultimately, that's what we're all after. We're all after living in this beautiful state, being as safe as we can.
Exactly.
So Rob, if you would, real quick, just share your story without going into too much detail about the gentleman who was wandering around the area without any protection. That's interesting.
I will 1 second, but I want to answer EJ's question here. He says healthcare and can you find docs on a timely basis? Yes and no. In our location or Rodney's location, he's within city limits, so he can get to medical attention pretty quickly. Sarah and I, it's a little tougher. We've been clearing the south side of the property, from the house enough where if we have a problem, we can get a helicopter in here. If it's non-life threatening, we can call the train, and chances are they'll send somebody up with a truck to pick us up on the rail system. As for if I'm in town, like if I can get to town on the train real quick, we're 15 minutes from the clinic. Clinic's not always open, so now I've got to go down to Wasilla, and that's a good hour and a half ride, depending on traffic. So if it's something serious, be ready. We're at that point of our life. If something happens, we have protections for Sarah if something happens to me, and vice versa. And it's a possibility, and it's a risk that we knew when we moved here.
Sure.
We're not in our 30s or 40s anymore. I'm in my 50s, and I'm not going to say Sarah's age because I'm not going to get slapped.
She's in her 40s, be honest.
Yep, Sarah's in her 40s. And she's over the giggling. So we knew the risk of what could happen up here when we moved here. And it's like when John, my brother that's in the chat here, John Hogan, came up here his first trip, which was another scary story. I'll do that one right now real quick.
Yep.
We were down building one of the bridges, and John is a photographer like me. He likes taking pictures of things, and he found a flower. He grabbed the flower and says, "Hey, Rob, take a picture of this with me or for me." I grab his phone and I'm looking, I zoom in. I'm like, "Oh, FMG, drop that now. Get your hands in the water." He's like, "What?" I said, "Do what I said right now, or you're not getting out of here." Well, he grabbed a monk's hood.
Yeah.
And most people don't realize how deadly monk's hood is. Monk's hood, if you get 2 or 3 milligrams into your blood system, whether through your eyes, your nose, your ear, your mouth, a cut, you're done. Especially where we are, you're not getting out. You're not going to have time to get an EMT before it starts shutting down your body.
Right.
So that was my other scary one. Luckily, it didn't affect John. So I count my blessings with that. I would have been lost without my brother. Now, the other thing that Rodney was talking about with people, we had an incident up here, I don't know, a couple weeks back. And I don't know the gentleman, but he rode a four-wheeler up to somebody's property in Chase and decided he was going to walk the train tracks up to our area to look at a property that's for sale. And he
Which
did.
in itself, human-wise, is dangerous.
Yes, because he left his rifle on his four-wheeler. I don't know if he was packing something. He had just a little chest harness on with that holds binoculars. That's all I seen on the guy. And for him to walk the 5-6 miles from the Chase trail to here without an arm is kind of scary. I just heard a train. That's weird. The train's going beeping this time of time. They're early. But it was kind of weird. And he was going over other people's properties up here, walking up to other people's properties, and that's no good. But him walking around up here with no weapon is foolish. You need to have a gun, especially in our hunt unit. 13E, which is where we're at, which goes into Denali Park, both the state and national park, is bear heaven. Yeah. We have more bear encounters here, mostly black bears, but we have such a high count of brown bears. The state is up their brown bear harvest to 2, which is very rare that they will do that. So that's telling you we have a problem. And we have a problem with black bears, brown bears, and wolves. And the wolves keep breeding and getting more and more and more. So
the
I know
wolves are
hunting, but we're going to do our part in taking some of them out because they eat so many moose.
Yeah.
Between the wolves and the bears eat up to 60% of the baby moose born every year. Gary from Magmatic Glitchin, who's in the chat, will confirm that. Well, I don't think he's got as many moose up in his area. It's probably caribou. But, no. They need to lay off the moose. That's our moose.
And that's a big thing that people don't realize as well, is that bears generally will hunt when they're hungry.
Yes.
Wolves hunt for sport. Wolves kill simply to kill. They will literally kill a calf or take down a pack, will take down a full moose. They will literally eat the most vital organs, and the rest of the animal is left there to waste. There's also
what their favorite portions are.
Or sometimes they'll just kill to kill. And people don't realize that. They are they're beautiful, they're majestic, but they are absolute killing machines. That's why there is a reasonable harvest that the state of Alaska allows so many wolves to be harvested, so many bears to be harvested, because it's, people I know a lot of people think it's cruel. It's a fact of life up here.
It is.
We have to protect the resource that we use and that we eat and provide for our families.
Yes.
So part of that is, if we don't do it, then Fish and Game there's been periods in the past, they will go out and
they'll do perdition hunts.
Exactly.
They did one like a year or two back where they dropped a lot of brown bears, but it didn't affect anything. They're still massing them out.
Exactly.
And, and speaking of the man right there, he says our moose population is definitely hurting from wolves and bears, and
absolutely,
it is 100% right.
Absolutely.
Not everybody agrees with hunting, but control is a big thing. You have to have control a lot of what's going on. Otherwise, animals will wipe out everything in one area. That's kind of like how rabbits have a cycle. They'll go in a 7-year cycle. There'll be no rabbits for many years. Like we didn't have rabbits until this year here.
Right.
And then they'll flourish for 2-3 years, and then the predators will come in and wipe them out, and then you start all over again. And it goes with everything. It's not just rabbits. It happens with moose. It happens with the birds, the grouse, things like that. So it happens to everything, including humans.
Absolutely. No, absolutely agree, man. It's and that's what people don't realize, is that yes, we do targeted hunts for predators to, help stabilize that. But all the hunters I know up here, people are like, how barbaric, how this, that, and the other. Every time, nobody enjoys taking a life. I know I don't, but it's been provided for us to eat clean, healthy, meat. We do everything from field to table. I process my own meat. It's an experience that people that don't hunt can't understand. They just see, oh, you're a vile killer. It's an experience between you and the animal that people who don't hunt or who don't participate in this lifestyle really can't understand. I
Yeah.
have 90%, I have 90, of all my animal experiences, you guys can check I've got just video of animals. I love going out and just filming and watching
Yeah.
animals in their
I'm the same
environment.
way. I mean,
Absolutely.
that's why I do my chemtrail dumps.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're not the vicious, horrid people you think we are.
And Olivia asked, do moose get wasting disease in Alaska? Is that an issue? Wasting disease decimated the moose population in Minnesota. I'm not sure about that. I don't think I've heard about that up here. Have you?
No, I have not. I haven't heard about moose wasting disease up here so far. So I know it's been a big problem with the deer and everything else in the lower 48, but
Yeah. And if you guys haven't checked out My Wildlife Homesteading, that is a great young family. And I helped them out last night. They were having a heck of a problem with trolls on his channel. I blocked like 20 trolls out of his channel last night, the poor guy. But great couple and family.
yeah,
Um,
it's the trolls are. I'll never understand that as long as I live. What drives a person to,
right. All right.
Anyway, we're
So,
not going to waste energy on that.
nope. I'm looking on my page to see what I had for questions. And speaking of My Wildlife Homesteading had a question on here. It says, here's my question. What's the biggest misconception outsiders have about living in Alaska? It's not always dark and it's not always sunny.
Yes,
It's not always snowing and cold.
true, true, true. That's what a lot of people. The wintertime is. You know, it's cold and dark, and a lot of people are like, how do you get through the winter? We stay active. We stay active. We do stuff. We go to the remote cabin. We snow machine. We just keep doing everything we would normally do. We just do it with a headlamp on, and before you
Yeah.
know it, you pass that winter solstice and you start gaining daylight again.
Yep.
And then summertime's here, and summertime is absolutely, 18, 20 hours of daylight. Just,
Yep.
it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. And that's the extreme of the state that we were talking about before. You have extreme summers, long days, and then you have extreme winters, and it's
Yep.
just, but that's the mystique of it as well.
Yes. You definitely learn what black oak curtains are for.
Yes.
And see, like
Yes.
we were talking earlier, you were saying the adjustment period, it really wasn't that bad for me.
Right.
The darkness wasn't hard. It was the daylight that was hard for me
Okay.
because I'm the type, if it's light out, I should be working.
Right. Right.
And the first year here, even, our second summer, Sarah had to get on me because I'd be out working and it's 10, 11 o'clock at night and she's in there hungry. Or
Right.
angry, I should say. And
Right.
when she steps out the door with a rolling pin in her hand, I think it's time I got to go in. But it wasn't that bad. But that's my issues. If it lights out, I've got to be working, and it's not so bad for me anymore. I do take my time, and I force myself to quit by 6 o'clock. Unfortunately, a lot of friends like Adam and Phyllis who are up here working on their property and building their place, they work crazy hours because they're working still. Where I'm retired, I have no responsibilities but to myself and my property and my wife.
Right.
So I try to stay out of their way. Like when Adam and Phil's come up working on their property, I kind of stay out of their way.
Right.
They need to get as much done as they possibly can in the short time they're here. So,
Shout out to Adam and Phyllis and that bomb diggity outhouse they did.
right. And that nice
Yeah.
shelter they built is down at the
That
track.
shelter was, yeah, I watched that this morning. That was
Yeah.
incredible. That was awesome.
Oh, I mean, when we get off the train, we're like, oh, if you haven't seen that, somebody drop a link to that video for Adam and Phyllis for me. For the shelter they did and for their outhouse series. Scott Balcom, if you haven't checked him, I'll make sure you do. Says, question, what should we expect out of winter this year? You never know, Scott. Every year has been different for us. We went our first year where we had no snow really, except for dustings until around Thanksgiving. And then all of a sudden it went nuts. And we had a week and a half to 2 weeks of sub 35-degree weather, which is the only time we've seen negative 35 here at the house. And then we went to oh my God, it's Snowmageddon, where we want to put over 20 feet of snow. And every year since then has been different. So there's no telling what's going to happen. If somebody's got a way to tell me what's going to happen, please let me know, because I'd like to be prepared for different
I'd
things.
like to get rich on that. I'd like to get rich on that idea too, you know? So,
Right.
well, it's like this past winter, it was literally, we had barren ground forever. And we were, Jackie and I were at the cabin, and we got the one big snowstorm. We literally got 4 feet of snow in a weekend. And it wasn't the fluffy, powdery, nice snow. It was nasty, wet, mashed potato snow. And I know, boo-hoo, we got stuck at the cabin. We had to stay at the cabin a little bit longer. But really, that was the only significant snowfall we got last year. It was a real light, which, don't get me wrong, I love the snow, but when we have less snow, it's also good for the moose, because there's generally a higher moose
Yes.
calf survival rate. So it's
Yes.
give and miss. Yes, we would love to have more snow so we can play and do stuff, but at the same time, less snow means greater wildlife survival, which in
Yes.
turn means more animals. So that's a good thing.
Definitely. And Ed says that Ed is about, I think about 9 miles southeast of us or so, give or take a couple miles. He had snow on his place this morning.
Really?
Yeah, not us.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah,
don't know if you noticed when you guys came to town, the termination dust, you could see
it's
it
already
getting
coming
lower
down.
and lower,
Yeah,
and then it went back up a little bit, So
yeah.
it's
Well,
it's one of those things.
we're still, like this morning, we weren't, last couple mornings, we were down around 27, 29 degrees. Today we're around 34, but we never go over 38. But later this week, it's supposed to get up in the 40s again.
Right.
So,
It's that time of year where it's a yo-yo right now until it
right, we're going to have weird weather.
hits. Yeah.
And hi, Ryan and Melody. I seen you pop on there. I highlighted you for a second. That's our friends in Canada from My Wild Home. Make sure you check them out as well as anybody that gets a link dropped in our live, because they're usually going to be very good people, like Ed from Mount Mariner. Amazing videos and really good
Again,
music.
Jeremy, I apologize. I didn't look at the chat earlier. You had a question today. Can you remind me what the question was again? It was a good question.
Yeah, Avanda. I definitely, hopefully, Avanda. I think I said that right, Miss Barnes. I agree. Trophy hunting is kind of silly.
Well, Rob and I have talked about this, and Rob and I kind of have the same motto: if it's legal and brown, it's down. So there's people that come up here, and it's like, if we harvest a smaller bull that's legal, it's like, they give us a hard time. And I always tell people, I've never eaten antlers, but I bet they don't taste real good. We
Exactly.
hunt to fill our freezers. We don't hunt for, uh, you know, glamour or anything else. We basically hunt to fill our freezers. So
Exactly. And one more, while you're looking for that one there off mine, the Alaskan Nomad said, what advice do you have for a couple in their mid 40s already living in Alaska that are considering moving or following a similar path you guys and getting way out off grid? Do it. If
I
you're
was going to
capable of
say,
doing it, do
Rob,
it.
tell him, Rob.
If you can do it, do it. I mean, I'm in my 50s. I got here when I was 48, and I celebrated my 49th in the 49th state, and I'm 50, going on 53 now. If I can do it at my age and I'm not perfect shape, you should be able to do it in your 40s. And I see people out here doing it much older. There's people up the tracks from us that are in their 70s and 80s. The Lovels, I mean, they were out
I
there
was
until
going to
they were
say
in
the
their
levels.
90s. They
Yeah,
were
I
out
was
there
going to say,
until late 80s, early 90s.
yeah.
And they thrived. I mean, then they're third generation up there. Their granddaughters took over the place. And they're making a go at it. They're not living there full time, but they're out there all summer.
And I can't remember, 55 in that area, 56. I can't remember anymore, but and we're still, we have another, you know, let's just say we have a retirement date and set, and that we're looking at, and we're going to be leaving here and going remote, and with one of the properties that we already have is our plan as well. So
Yep.
absolutely, man, there's ages, this lifestyle, you live here, that this lifestyle will keep you young, keep you healthy, keep you vibrant. And I always say, a remote lifestyle is gonna keep you healthier longer, because you're not gonna have an
Definitely.
option to sit down and relax. You're gonna be working. You're gonna be staying healthy. So
No, there are very few days that we do not get outside. It's usually when it's really, really heavy rain. We'll
right,
just sit in the house, and a lot of times I'll still throw on my slicker and go for a ride.
sure,
You know,
sure.
I've got to. You know, I don't like being stuck inside. Tina says I get mad when I hear about a bear being put down because people can't put a lock on their trash cans, then complain about the bears getting into them. Yeah, that's just foolish. If you
Yeah,
live in bear country, do things right.
yeah.
I mean, the only reason I've chased a bear up here off our property is because it killed half my chickens, and I have my chicken coop pretty well armored, and it still got in there and killed 3/4 of my chickens. That's the only reason I went after it. I mean, I will go after bear to freeze it, but I mean,
Want to give a
if
shout out
it's
to Tomcat Josh, who just donated 5 memberships to Curmudgeon, Alaska. Thanks, man.
oh,
That's awesome.
nice. Okay, let me check the start area because that'll tell me who's been doing what. So it looks like, yeah, Tomcat actually did 15 of them. Thank you, Tomcat.
Wow. Okay, I just saw the last 5. Way to go,
Yeah,
man.
and just Jason Keto did 5 earlier, so that's 20 new memberships. Thank you very much, guys. We appreciate that.
How much for the PBR, Timbo? Come on over, man. Free. Come on over. We'll have one together. It's free, man. And what's funny is we a lot of the friends, we'll have like so we had our base on our cabin and stuff to divert a little bit, and then we had a bunch of friends come over at our remote property, and we literally went from having posts, beams, and a floor to having a completely shelled in cabin in literally 48 hours. And
Yeah.
that was, the troops showed up, and and people up here, it's like, we'll work for alcohol, man. That's awesome. So come on over, man. You'll have a PBR for free on me. So
Right. Hey, Madhu. Good to see you. Yeah, let me know next time you're up here going to your place in North Pole.
John says, what are you drinking tonight?
Who, me?
Yes, John says, what's Robert drinking tonight? Come on, Rob. What are you drinking tonight?
Blackberry Crown.
My man. My man. Robert probably already knew that, though.
I usually get a martini, but
Or
I want
John, I'm
something.
sorry, I said Robert. John probably already knew what you were drinking. He knows you
No,
so well.
he's used to me drinking my martinis. He knows I get certain gins that I like, so
Yeah. That Blackberry Crown's good.
it is. It is.
Good plug. Little plug there.
Oh yeah. Do you have any more questions from your side? I'm looking on my side. If not, we're going to start taking a little bit more from the crowd.
Yeah, I was looking to see if Jeremy was still in here. I apologize. I got to rambling on, and you guys will have to forgive me. Rob is much more experienced at this than I am, so I'm still a fairly new channel. So I'm trying to get this down. So you guys will have to excuse my amateurness. So
Oh, you're fine, Rodney.
how much does the PBR cost up there? Timbo, that's a good question. I will have to ask my wife. She bought the last case. So there's Miss Niecy Lee. Welcome in.
But Melody, Ryan, you got it. No way. There's no way you guys are 58 and 60. You look much younger. That's Melody Ryan from My Wild Home.
Well, that's like you and Sarah. It's the same thing. It's this lifestyle. It does keep you,
Yeah.
it keeps you healthy. It really does.
Oh, I missed it. Hang on. I'm trying to get the questions to go by quick. I'm trying to get a hold of them. Olivia says, where are you both originally from? What made you ultimately move to Alaska? You already told yours a little bit. I'll get on mine.
Yes,
Originally,
sir.
I'm from New Hampshire originally. Sarah's from upstate New York. I spent the better part of almost 30 years in Florida. I've owned multiple businesses down there. I was a shipwright for the most part. I had a dive company. I was a journalist. I was a photographer for a newspaper. I had my own column. I owned a fair-sized tea urban spice company up in Venice, Florida for a while. I'm well-rounded when it comes to working, and I loved Florida. My mom was down there for many years, and actually she's back down there now. But the heat killed me. I had 4 heat strokes, and Sarah looked at me one day and says, let's go someplace cooler in the summertime. And initially, we came here looking to find a seasonal property. And we walked onto this property. And we both looked at each other and said, "This feels like home." And at that point, we said, "Okay, we're going back to Florida. I'm selling the sailboats, the power boats. She's selling the house. I'm selling all the vehicles. I had a couple of work vehicles, things like that." And we said, "Let's go." And, that was a little over, 5 years almost. Yeah. This is our fifth winter. So, yeah, 4 years.
How time flies, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can tell yours again, just in case the person didn't hear it. All of you didn't hear it when you got here.
I grew up in Louisiana in the bayous, and I joined the military when I was really young. When I got out of the military, I ended up in the Midwest and was there for a while. And one night just I came here in '92 when my brother was stationed in the military here. And as an outdoorsman, I left my heart here. I mean, I knew at some point I would end up back here.
Right.
So I just had an epiphany one day and just was like, I'm not happy here. I'm moving to Alaska. So I quit my job, sold everything, and moved up here. And the rest is history. I will never leave. I leave here to go to different places to visit and all that. And it's always like, I'm just always happy to come back home. I absolutely love this state.
Yeah. And I've been trying to come here since I was 18. And every time thought I was going to be here, something would happen, whether it be financial or family reasons, and it would be canceled. So I wouldn't be able to come. And I always told everybody, if I get there, I'm not coming home. So
Yeah.
a lot of my clients back in Florida from my marine based business, when they found out I was coming to Alaska, they're like, "You are coming back, right?" I said, "Yes, I'll be back." I wasn't sure for how long, but I didn't tell them that. But in all in all, it was the best move that Sarah and I have made in our lives. I mean, there's no going back. I mean, Alaska ruins you in
It does.
one of two ways. Either you don't want to leave it, or you just want to get the heck out of here, like now. Which not me. Yeah, I'll die on this hill.
And that's what
Hopefully,
I was saying
20
earlier.
years.
I was saying earlier, Rob, when you were away, is that, it, it's just one of those things where, you see videos that we put out and all the different stuff. And the videos, and I always tell people, if you come here, prepare to leave a part of your heart and soul, because the videos, the picture, it doesn't do it justice. The magic that you feel when you're here in this state is beyond anything I've ever experienced in my life. So
Yeah, Alaska's something special in many different ways. Yes, Melody and Ryan, I have had an interesting life. I've done a lot. I've always been taught, don't be afraid to try new things and be adventurous. And
look where you're at
how
now.
I live, 20 years of living on sailboats and stuff like that, to Alaska. It's been a fun life. I can't complain about life.
You guys forgive me if I'm looking down. I'm looking down at the chat. So
Right. A question for you guys: how is the quality of the video and the audio? I'm actually using my Insta360 up here and a mic that Brother Hogan sent me here a while back, and I just want to make sure that it's coming through nicely and that we're not getting too much lag, because I am in the man cave. And if you saw the video of me putting in the wireless bridge with John over the summertime, this is the first time we've actually tested this out here. So I'm hoping it's not lagging and causing problems.
that was a really nice statement. Avonda Barnes says, I'm so happy to be talking to people in Alaska. I love the TV Alaskan shows, but this is real, much more personable. Thank you very much. I appreciate
Yes,
that. We're happy you're with us.
we're not scripted.
Yes, completely unscripted. So
Hey, John, you got your recorder running? Shut up, Hogan. That's not how it happened. You knew in advance.
I was reading that. I was reading that comment. I was waiting for you to see that one. So
shut up, Hogan. And those that don't know, that's a saying that I come up with John. I can't remember how long ago, but it's our thing. Shut up, Hogan.
I was waiting for you to see that. I saw that comment. I was waiting for you to see that, to see what you said. So.
See, Gina says, recently stumbled onto Flat Tire Farm and Becca and Levi. Nice. Crystal and Reeve are amazing people from Flat Tire Farm. We talked to them quite a bit and met up with them a few times. Olivia says, "Good for you. I've been to Alaska once and fell in love. Hope to move there one day. Do it. Don't hesitate. Just do it."
K-Seb had a question. What do you fear most about living in Alaska, if anything? That's a great question. I'll let you go, Rob.
What do I fear?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty much at peace with myself. So, I mean, if the bear grabs me out, the bear grabs me out. I mean, I'd say the worst fear I have is going to town.
Yeah.
Because 99%, 99% of the time, if I go to town, I spend more than like 4 days there. I wind up coming home sick. And I don't like
Right.
being sick. I can deal with anything else. I can deal with a bear chopping on me or biting me or whatever. I don't like being sick. If I get sick, I'm miserable. So I mean, I'd rather not get sick.
I get sick. Jackie says I'm a baby, so I think most men are. But
No, I
you know,
get cranky. I just don't want to be around anybody. I want to be left alone.
yeah, I'm the same way. It's just kind of the thing that fears me the most is not to sound cliche or goofy, but is something happening to my wife, or something happening
Yeah.
to me, because I'm blessed to be married to my absolute best friend in the world. She is my wife, and kids are my world.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest fear, is actually something happening to my wife and me not being able to do anything. And I'm sure I would hope she says the same about me. Who knows, but
Right.
yeah,
And
I know,
that's
little
to me.
sketchy, but
Yeah,
no, I'm blessed to be married to my best friend. So
yeah.
that's probably my biggest fear, is something happening to my wife. So,
Right. And that's kind of an unspoken thing with Sarah and I. I mean, that is either one of our fears. It's mostly for her because she's already buried one husband.
yeah,
I don't want to have a second one for her. That's why
right.
I'm trying to do everything I can to make sure that, it sounds bad, but I outlive her. I mean, it's obvious. Everybody already knows Sarah is a bit older than I am, and we're not really shy about it. We don't really care two beans what anybody thinks about it. It's our relationship. But that you're right. That would be one thing that would be me going before her and her being left aside. But we also have plans already made if something does happen to me. That
Right.
she won't have to leave this hill. She'll be all
Yeah.
right until it's her time. But I mean, we don't even think about it. I mean, it's not even a thought in our mind, so we don't really think about it. So, um, following me says Rob, do you and Sarah have children or grandchildren? I have one son. He's in Florida. Sarah has one daughter and three grandchildren, and then some great grandchildren. We don't really hear from them much. Occasionally, just not very often. We're not super close with the kids or grandkids.
Well, and that's I'm reading chat here, so forgive me, guys, from looking down. And that's another thing that is, we're blessed that you know our kids live here and stuff. So that's a hard part about that, kind of transcends into, it's a hard part about living up here as well, is you are separated from family, and it's
Yes.
not easy to, it's not cheap or easy to go see family, or for family to come up here and stuff like that. So I'm blessed that, my youngest daughter is in Arizona, finished college, and she's, studying for MCATs to look at going to medical school. But so I was texting my wife, because she texted me, and I asked her if it was okay to say, but you were asking about grandkids, and we just found out this past weekend that we're going to be grandparents. So I'm going to be a grandpa. Yeah, yeah. So
Congrats.
I didn't want to say anything, because it was kind of a shush shush thing. So, but I texted her, and it's like, she texted me and says, "Well, now you're going to be a grandpa." I was like, "Well, can I say that?" And she was like, "Yes." So I got the thumbs up. So we're excited about that. I'm tickled pink.
Right.
I've dreamt about being a grandpa for a long time. We're just really, really excited about it and stuff. Taking the baby out on the snow machine to the cabin, and just all kind of good stuff, man. I'm pumped. You probably can't
Yeah.
tell, but I'm pumped. So
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
MMD says boat lifestyle must have prepared you well for off-grid living in a remote location. Yes. Being on the boat, I was never really hooked up to shore. I lived at anchor a lot. I did stay at the marinas for a couple of years while I was rebuilding boats. But yeah, being on the boats really prepared me for this. So, I mean, I've technically been off grid for off and on for most of my life. I mean, I've been sailing since I think I started sailing when I was 12, but I started living aboard in my early to mid 20s. So it's been great. Can't complain about this for sure.
I saw MMD had a question. I was trying to, what's the most unexpected thing you've discovered since relocating to Alaska?
Unexpected thing?
Yeah. Something that, happened that, moving here, you thought you realized or understood and then was just kind of like, wow, that was unexpected,
That they had such thing as thermal inversions. People that don't understand. One of my early videos that we did here was a combination between myself, alone in remote Alaska, Adam and Phyllis from Alaska Cut the Cord, David from the Gnomestead, and Danielle and my friend Paul Heeman. And we did a video on temperature differences. Everywhere but here, we were, I think, like -5 or +5 that day. Adam and Phyllis were like -30. Alone was like -40 something. David was like -5 or 10. Paul Heeman was around -15 or 20. And we were the warmest out of the bunch. And we're the most further north out of all of them. And what happens is because of our elevation and the amount of sunlight we get, it keeps us a little warmer in the wintertime. So it's kind of a unique spot that we have. As Sarah calls it, it's our honey hole.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it really is. I mean, we're getting fiddleheads early. We have one location that is always the first spot every year to drop or pop up the fiddleheads. And we're getting them before people in town are getting them. Well, except for this year because they didn't really get snow this year. So
The most unexpected thing for me was how horrible people drive here.
you never been to Florida.
You would think, I don't know, less smaller population and stuff. But I think that's probably that kind of surprised me. It's like big city Chicago, LA driving sometimes in the cities. It gets pretty treacherous sometimes. So
The worst thing I could say about the traffic here is really only one throughfare from Anchorage to Fairbanks.
right.
Going on this side. I mean, you can go the west side, but it's going to take you a lot, or east side, it's going to take you a lot longer. But from here, say from Trapper Creek to Anchorage, there's only one real route, and that's Parks. And
Yep.
as Sarah and I experienced last time we went to town, there was a major accident, and Parks got shut down for 6 hours. We were trying to get down to Wasilla to go grocery shopping, get our shopping started ahead of time for our shopping video. And we couldn't do it because we were stuck in traffic. I mean, we sat there for 2 hours where I said, hell with this. I'm turning around, going back to the Airbnb.
Absolutely.
And, if you come to Alaska and need a really nice Airbnb, check out the Alaskan Dog Center. Kale and Carrie have a really nice place there. And give them a shout out. They treat us so good when we go in there. But, the traffic is not fun.
And that's,
it takes one idiot.
And that's what people don't, they don't realize there's simply one highway. And like you were experiencing, we've experienced numerous times, when there's a bad accident, the highway's closed. The state is literally shut down. There is no other access. It's crazy.
Yep. What are you shutting down the internet for, Hogan? Don't cause problems, Sean.
Adam and Phyllis had a great question. They said, what have you found to be the best boots for surviving the winters in Alaska? I already know my answer. I'll let you go, Rob.
The best boots?
Best boots for surviving winters in Alaska.
Honestly, I'm the wrong person to answer that question because I burn through a pair of boots a year. It's the only ones that I haven't burned through so far are the new bunny boots, but I didn't wear them much last year because it wasn't that cold. My first year here, I spent $300 and bought these really nice boots from Cabela's. They were extremely warm. 3/4 of the way through the winter, they started falling apart.
Right.
The second winter, I bought another pair of $250 boots. Same thing. It didn't last the winter. Third year, I bought what were they? I can't remember what they were, but the box said they were regular toed. Well, come to find out, somebody has swapped and put steel-toed boots in there. And
Oh,
steel-toed
that's
boots in the cold is the worst thing to do because it gets the cold and it holds the cold and it makes you cold.
right.
Last year, I still was wearing the ones with the steel toes in them because that's all I had. I did go buy the new bunny boots. However, it didn't get cold enough to really judge the new bunny boots.
Are those the ones from Alaska Gear Company?
Yes.
You'll have to let me know about those.
Yep. I mean, they're comfortable. I have no complaint about how they feel. It just I don't know how they're going to do in the cold because it hasn't been that cold. So,
Jackie just got home.
hey, Jackie.
Mine are yeah, bunny boots. I wear the white bunny boots. I've been looking at the Alaska Gear Company. I actually applied to be a tester for them, didn't get selected, of course.
It's the
Apparently
same here.
I'm too boring, but
Yeah, well,
so I wear the military bunny boots. There's still some places you can. I'm gonna have to move this fire pit. The smoke keeps. It's not bothering me, but hopefully it's not bothering you guys. But
no, it's not
um,
that bad.
so I wear and just to talk about the bunny boots real quick story. I caribou hunt up in the White Mountains, 40 Mile, and I ended up harvesting 2 caribou probably 5 miles back. So we finally got back, and there was a few times where I got stuck and was, in basically belly deep snow, trying to get the snow machine unstuck. Got back to the truck and literally took my boots off, dumped them over, and water poured out. Those
Yeah.
things are unbelievable. They are, I mean, that's all I wear in the winter, snow machining. They're heavy, and I'm hoping the new ones, like Rob, you'll have to let me know. I'm hoping the new ones are lighter than the military bunny boots. But as far as keeping your feet warm, those things are unbelievable. They're good. I think, what is it, up to 40 below for the white ones and 20 below for the black bunny boots, I think.
Yeah, and you can go much colder with the
Oh,
white
yeah,
snow
absolutely.
style. I mean, I have a set here, but they weren't the right size. I need to find a pair of those that are the right size because
Right,
talking about fears, my fear is going out and having mine on this, especially the new ones that cost $300-400,
right.
and cutting wood because I do a lot of my wood cutting in the winter and cutting into it with my chainsaw.
Yeah,
So I need to
yeah,
find an old set to be using up here.
yeah. And that's
um,
another thing that, talking about the chainsaws is, somebody was asking about it earlier. So I've Jackie has gotten on to me numerous times, because I'm a big, when it comes to her using the chainsaw, I'm always a proponent, oh, chaps, chaps, chaps. But
yes,
then I'll shortcut and I've actually gotten into my leg a couple of times with a chainsaw. Luckily nothing too severe, just nothing staples and stitches wouldn't close up. But
yeah,
it's a big thing up here. A guy I knew lost his life running a chainsaw on his remote property, and somebody didn't hear from him and found him. So accidents up here do happen. So I've
yes,
become a big, 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 big proponent on
yep,
Adam and Phyllis. I've seen when they're running, Adam's always got his helmet on with his shield and his earmuffs, and I mean they're
always
it's
good
it's all
chops on.
about, yeah, it's all about running stuff safely and stuff,
Yes.
and
I
because you
will
don't,
admit, when we first got here, I was horrible about having the chaps on,
yeah,
as well as the headgear. The big thing for me is, especially in the summertime, I like to hear what's around me.
absolutely,
So
yeah,
having the earmuffs on bothered me,
yeah,
and looking through the mesh bothered me.
right.
But now I've gotten past that. I got past having it on my head. The chaps, I have not cut myself yet, but I caught my pant leg on it, and after that, I'm putting my chaps on. And that was like the first winter here. And after that, I always wear the chaps. If I'm out felling, if I'm at the house, I always just stand to the side.
Right.
If I don't have my chaps on, because in the summertime, if it's hot out, I'm not putting chaps on, or I'll just wait to do the wood until it
I had
cools
a
down.
pair of chaps on the last time. I had a pair of chaps on, but I was running a Pro Husqvarna saw, and it actually went through the chaps and got into my leg. And I just keep remembering, had I not had chaps on, I would probably be missing a leg to this day. So it
It
definitely
should have made
stayed.
it through. It should not
Yes.
make it through those pants. It should clog up.
Well, they should have. It was like some Home Depot chaps, and I was running a Pro Husky saw, so it got
Yes.
through them. So, but it saved my leg. So
Yeah.
still, knock on
Good
wood,
quality. Good quality gear is important.
absolutely.
Timbo, yes, I'm using Starlink up here. just looking for any last minute questions because we're almost to our hour mark. And in the future, this won't be going like this. We're going to be trying to get as many questions ahead of time as possible, especially when we have guests on there. And we'll probably start having guests not this coming time in 2 weeks, but the time after that we probably will. So in about a month's time, we're hoping to have a few guests on with us one at a time or a couple at a time. And it all depends on who we have coming in. I am working on getting a few people in here that'll really surprise some of you guys, as well as other YouTube channels that we have up here. Of course, we'll have Adam and Phyllis on here with us. We'll have probably Dee and Steve from our slice. We'll have Scott and Cynthia. Anybody that's Alaskan channels, that's what we want to hit. So we want to get everybody's opinions and experiences for their area. This isn't about Bud and I. This is about everybody up here. We want everybody to see how everybody else is. It's not just one area. Every area has its own ecosystem in a sense. Gary from Magnetic Glitch and his wife, BG wife, their lifestyle is totally different from ours. And, I'm hoping Gary and Shailene will come on and chat with us one time as well. And, and it's not just YouTubers too. We're looking for anybody that has life experience up here in Alaska.
Yes.
And yes. On the stage.
And that was a big thing when we discussed the show. We basically discussed that we wanted to this is for you guys because there's so many people that ask so many questions. And just so you guys know, the next bi-weekly one will be on my channel. So if you guys make sure you link up with that. So we're going to kind of go back and forth on the channels. So we hit different audiences and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But we discussed that we wanted to do this podcast for you guys because we were talking about it when I was at Rob's, and it was, how many people have so many questions about Alaska, and there's really nothing out there. Individually, we do it on our channels. We try and do it with videos and shorts, but we thought it would be a great idea to have this podcast to answer questions that, directly from you guys. So really this show is for you guys. It's about you guys. It's about us. It's about the other Alaska creators.
Yep.
So that's really, really what it's about. Rob and I are just the ones starting it. So, but we really want to get all the other Alaska channels on here because there's really, I've only met Adam and Phyllis a couple times, but just salt of the earth people. There's so many good channels and so many good Alaska people. And we want to bring exposure because like Rob said, you can go 15 miles away from here and have a completely different experience, different weather, different everything. It's just the nature of Alaska. So.
All right. So Jen has a really important question. What is the wattle under a moose's chin? What is it for?
Well, it's called a dewlap. And to be interesting enough, scientists have never actually, they believe it may have something to do with mating, but even scientists aren't exactly sure what the dewlap, what it's for, what purpose it serves physically or anything for the moose. So if that's what you're talking about, the piece of skin, that's called the dewlap. And even scientists aren't sure what it's for. They think it may be something to do with, along with like antler size, the larger the moose gets, the larger the dewlap gets. So it may be something with, mating as far as, dominant moose and things like that. But
exactly.
And that's an interesting question because I often wonder that too, because I'm a nerd. I get into something like that. And even scientists haven't been able to figure out what Rob can tell you, I'm a hunting nerd. So that scientists haven't even been able to figure out actually what the dewlap is for.
Crazy. If anybody else has any last minute questions, we'll answer one or two of them real quick. If not, we'll give it a couple minutes and then we're going to get out of here.
Avonda says, can you repeat your channel again? Yes, ma'am. It is at Pure Alaska, and we'll have links in here as well. So next week I'll put out a post as well, and Rob will as well. So we'll make sure we let you guys know what channel will be hosting it and stuff. So.
Yeah. Following me says, you mentioned you were in the military. What branch were you in for how long?
I stayed. I was in the Navy and then went over to the Marine Corps and retired.
You retired from the Corps?
Yes.
Okay, so you put some time in. Good. And Gary says it's used for presentation.
What's that?
The wattle is used for presentation.
Okay, so that's and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe from what I read when scientists were talking about it, they believe it's presentation for mating. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think
Yeah.
that's what I remember.
And MMD says, do you enjoy moose meat? I wasn't a big fan. Do you get used to it? I have no problem with moose meat at all. My favorite is caribou, but moose, if done right, just like any wild game, is amazing.
And it goes back to, believe it or not, a lot of people don't realize this. It's your field care. It's how
Yes.
the moose was dressed. I'm very meticulous about it. I have a tarp when I quarter up the moose in the field. It goes on the tarp, so dirt, leaves, all that stuff does not get on the meat. And believe it or not, field preparation has so much to do with the overall taste of the moose. Age of the moose, again, usually during hunting season, they're in rut, so that can affect everything. But
Yep.
generally, a lot of it is field, how it's handled in the field. Field care is a huge thing.
Yep. And it's like John Hogan will tell you that he's only had like bear from one person that ever tasted good until he came here. It's all
Yeah,
like Rodney just said. It's all on how you treat it when you harvested it to the table. It's all in the processing and how you do it. If you do it properly and cook it properly, it will always taste good. Even Adam and Phyllis, they've had in my bear, and Sarah, it's sweet to the taste and it's nice and tender. It's never been a problem on how it's done.
and what's interesting is once you get used to game meat, like we eat primarily moose, caribou. Once you get used to that, when Jackie and I actually, we can taste the difference when we eat store-bought meat. You can literally, it's like you can taste the chemicals, the hormones. You can taste that stuff in the meat. It's definitely a different taste. So it's really a lot of, I guess, what you're used to as well. So
Yeah. Janet, I have not eaten moose tongue yet. I have not harvested a moose myself. Shut up, Hogan. Uh, but yes, I do like beef tongue, and I actually have some in the freezer. So yeah, no, if I drop something and I harvest it, it is getting 100% used as much as it's possibly is edible.
absolutely. There's so many things you can do. A lot of people don't realize the hooves. You can make gelatin out of the hooves. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, and we really try to make use of, every. Jackie even boils down the bones to get the residual meat off that we couldn't, and we get stew meat and different things.
Yep.
It's just respect for the animal. We try to use absolutely every part of the animal possible.
Take the bone, make bone broth. I mean, grind the
Absolutely.
bone up afterwards, and you can put it in your gardens. I mean, there's so much we can do with it. It's like a lot of our big game bones, like moose and bear. I bring down to friends in town that have that they're blacksmiths and make knives, and they'll use the bones and the handles.
And the antlers as well. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Ashley, the needle bone. Most mystic stab artists just stated it's often full of worms. If you actually knew how much of your meat you ate had worms in it,
Right.
most of your fish, if it's grouper, things that come out of warm water or deep water, and it's a slow mover, has worms in it. Salmon
Mhm.
has worms in it. It's how you cook it. If you
Right.
cook it and you kill it and you do it right, that's why you always cook your game meat well. They're
Yes.
not getting the vaccines that our cattle get, which are probably horrible for us anyways. If it's done properly and it's edible, it's not going to harm you. I know the first time I went grouper fishing down in Florida, and I pulled up a big red grouper, and I laid it open, and it was full of worms. I'm like, ew! I'll
Yeah.
never eat grouper again. Then it's like if you eat it at the store, it's got worms in it.
It's like
Just
caribou. Caribou have warble worms, which, by the way, fact, don't let your dogs eat raw caribou meat because it has warble worms, which can be fatal for dogs. So most game meat has worms of some sort or another. You just have to cook it very, very well.
yeah, always cook your meat well. Game meat, that is. Gary says moose meat can taste widely different depending on where it's harvested and what. Yeah, exactly. What they're
Yeah.
eating can make them taste different. And it's like you
Yes.
go to south parts of the Southwest, and they've got a lot of sagebrush, and if the blacktail or the pronghorns are eating sagebrush, it's going to give it a really different taste than a whitetail you get on the East Coast.
Maple asked a really interesting question. After living in Alaska, what businesses would you say your community need the most?
Well, I was just looking at that too. Well, I'd say for our community, which we're very few up here because where we're at, but if we needed something up here, like out of the Talkeetna area, somebody that would have a business that would be able to run to the store for us and drop it off to the train. I would pay well, so I wouldn't have to go to town.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody, we have our friend Mary, which we love Mary and her mom to death. She
She's
does our
awesome.
she goes and she'll grab our mail for us and she'll drop it at the train. Like I got a bunch of mail today. Or occasionally she'll go down to Cubby's and grab some things for us. But if I had a service that I could send grocery shopping for me, that would take the care and the time that I do, I pay well for that.
I don't really know that I have an answer. Wow, that's you stumped me. One thing I would say, and I'll just touch on it briefly, is that we do have a huge homeless problem here.
Yes.
Um, and a lot of it is drug, alcohol related and stuff. But what we don't have is they try to throw resources at the homeless, but what they really don't have, and I think they do need to have, is a transition center. They need to have
Yeah.
a transition center for people who truly want to get off the drugs and alcohol. They need to have an avenue for them to do that. Um, that's one thing I would like to see. The state spends an atrocious amount of money on homelessness, but to me they're not, they're kind of feeding the problem without
Yes.
really trying to help people who want help get off the streets. And I know it's a controversial subject, but that's just kind of that's one thing that I think the community would do well with. So
Mystic stab artists. Actually, the women are outnumbering the men in Alaska now.
yes.
Used to be like Talkeetna we have our bachelor auction in Talkeetna every year. It used to be very hard to find women up here. Now I believe they're actually outnumbering the men.
Yes, it's getting that way. Yes.
Yep. Let's see here. 1616 outdoors. Howdy. Oh, sorry I'm late. Well, you just caught us at the tail end, my friend. Sorry about that.
Alice says they're building air taxis in my area that look like the Jetsons vehicles. Yeah, I was, how much longer is it before, we kind of
Right.
start seeing some of that stuff?
Right. Well, so we hope that you guys have enjoyed this tonight. Being this is the inaugural run for this show. And like I said, we're hoping to start getting a little bit more guests in. And when we do start getting guests in, we want you guys to ask a lot more questions. Um, we would need to have things ready ahead of time because we try to do it more like a podcast where we're not really looking so much at the chat until we get through the basic questions or questions you guys have asked on our channels and our community post area. Once we have those answered, then we can go into the chat like you guys have here. We'll have people like John, Jason, and Paula, and they'll start linking in any chats that we want so that they're seen and we can answer those questions. But we got 5 stars in there now. Why? No, it's weird. Oh, hey, John Penny, thank you for the super chat. Schnee and Trek boots work great. Also a gator. Yes. The gaiters around your ankles keep the snow out is definitely a big
Gators are phenomenal in the wintertime. Yes.
Yep. And Gladys joined the membership. Thank you very much for that.
I think, like Rob was saying, one thing that would really help is we'll put a post out. We talked about Wednesdays, Rob, I believe, and on each of our channels, and we'll put a post out to basically have you guys submit questions in,
Yes.
and so it would really help us if you guys would go to those posts and submit questions and stuff. That way we can really kind of focus on that, understanding that once the questions get to be a lot, we're not obviously going to be able to get to all of the questions, but we'll get to as many of them as we can. So please don't feel offended if we don't get to the question. Just submit it again the following week, and I promise we're going to try to answer as many as possible. And if we get through the questions, then we'll do go to the chat like we did tonight and stuff like this. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. There were so many great questions. It's always great hanging out with people, and I love this state. I love obviously talking about it. I love hearing what people think about it. I'm really interested to have some of the guests on and really learn about, their lifestyles and their experiences and different things, which is really what it's about. There was phenomenal participation tonight. We had a
Yes,
lot of
definitely.
people in, a lot of people in here,
I think we hit about. I think our max was 130. And
That's
Crash,
awesome.
thank you for the kind words. This little podcast is going to become huge, guys. This is that. This is that awesome. Well, we're glad you guys think so, and we're
Thank you.
hoping that we can just keep growing it and growing it and growing it. Like next time we do it, we're going to probably have it on Rodney's channel, unless I can figure out how to make it so it streams to both of our channels at the same time. Because if we can do it that way, that'd be a lot easier. That way, we're all going back and forth. Then we click links and people can go into one chat and watch over there, or they come over to the other one and watch it there. That way, they have options. And also, when we have our guest on, we want to be able to stream it to everybody's channel, not just mine or Rodney's. We want to go to everybody's
Absolutely.
channel so it gets more reach. And it's not just
Absolutely.
about subs, gaining subs either. It's about getting the reach out there so everybody has a chance to see it. I mean,
I've
we
said from the
want,
beginning, I've told everybody. Alice is in here. She's been with Alice Adams, been with
yep,
me from the start of my channel. She's my main
yep,
moderator. And she, we've grown slow. I have a small channel, but I I would much rather grow my channels organically with
yes,
wonderful people like the people that are in this chat that really
yes,
enjoy the content, because those are the people who are that's what my channel is about. It's about bringing content to people that really enjoy it. So, I don't have a huge channel, but I look forward to growing it organically with phenomenal people like we have in this chat today.
exactly,
Because those are the people that really are going to, those are the channels I enjoy, and those are the people who enjoy our channels and stuff, and the other Alaska people channels. So that's really what, like you said, Rob, it was important for us both. It's not about gaining subs, it's about putting out quality content that people really enjoy and engaging with people, and the subs are going to come and people are going to
yeah,
be drawn to that, and your channels are going to grow organically just from that content.
exactly. Like I tell a lot of different YouTube channels, and I tend to go into a show called Tuba Chat, and I don't think Kevin's in here tonight, but his channel helped us grow a lot. I mean,
Right.
just over a year ago, August, we were only at 1,200 subs. And now, I mean, today we're over 57,000 subs
Yeah.
and organically.
Yeah. You hear about people all
And
the
we want to
time
help.
that are losing like, big numbers of subscribers, and we don't have that problem with these channels because it's true, just really good
That
organic,
was weird.
content that people really love. So
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, guys. Starlink must have glitched for a second because I lost all my stuff. Anyways, if it's going to get silly, we might as well end this now. It's been an hour and 15 minutes.
yeah.
I want to thank all the moderators that are in here tonight and everybody that's in here viewing this tonight for showing up. Um,
Yes.
we weren't sure how the first show was going to go, but it looks like it was actually pretty successful. We
I
had
think
quite
I
a few
think that's
people in
great.
here. We're getting a lot of good questions. And when we go to set up for the next one, we're going to try to have a guest for the next one. That way, they're not talking.
I think Starlink may be glitching for Rob. Can you guys still hear? Are
I
you there,
keep
Rob?
glitching. Yeah, I'm back. I keep glitching out. Anyways, let's end it here before it goes stupid on us.
Yay, Starlink.
Right? uh, it's a little crazy. Starlink is crazy. Hey, Arlen, Gary, everybody. I appreciate you all. We appreciate you all for being in here. It's been a great experience. We weren't sure how this was going to go over, and it really turned out really well. And we're happy to have every one of you guys here. Gary, Shailene, get in touch with me soon. I would like to possibly have you guys on as our first guest. Bud, do you have anything else? Rodney, sorry.
Yeah, I always end streams with this. I mean, I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate it. It does mean the world to me. There's 100 other things you could be doing with your time, but the fact that you chose to spend your time with us, listening to us ramble on, truly does mean the world to me. And when I say I send out much love, I truly mean it, because it does mean the world to me that you guys take your time, your precious time, and choose to spend it with us. So please know that it's so much appreciated, and I really look forward to more of these podcasts.
As do I. And I don't think I could close it out any better than Rodney just did. You guys have a great day. We love y'all, and we'll see you soon.
Guys, take care.
Bye.